Hi, everyone. Dr. Vernita Glenn White here, known as Dr. V. Thank you so much for joining me on day 5 of Vlogmas. I am still excited. I am still pumped up. We have 20 more days to go. And I am going to talk about where do I find inspiration for my business and to do Vlogmas. Yes, it is a lot going on. And I have, a lot of respect for YouTubers who have been on here, cranking out content on a consistent basis. And I've always wondered, like, where do you all find the material to do everything that you do? And now that I'm being more consistent, not really so much only focusing on Vlogmas, but on my other social media platforms and speaking engagements and events and things like that, people are now asking me, where do I find the inspiration for all of this content? And to me, it's like, well, it's not a lot of content. It feels like it's the same information. But when I look at it, it's not that it's the same information. There's an overall theme about what I talk about. But I have realized that my information is, is different, that I put out, and it looks like a lot. So where do I find inspiration? I find inspiration all over. Every time I read a book, every time I read someone else post, whenever I read any articles, like, especially for academia, when I read those articles, because I'm still a college professor now, when I read them, I always think about, how can this relate to my business and personal development and growth and mindset and all of that? I like to use practical tools to make sense of things. I like practical tools for complex situations. That's the motto for like my other business. And I just like being very practical. My mom was like that. She was a practical teacher when she taught Bible school or Bible study and Sunday school. And I picked up those habits from her. So when I read, just everything that comes to me is some form of inspiration. I talk about the 9 environments in one of my courses. I did a series on my business Facebook page if you want to go see that. And then the 9 environments, I didn't create them. They're out there, but I tailored them to how it fits what I'm talking about. So one of the 9 environments is Memetic, and I hope I'm saying that right. Memetic, you, which is everything that you like, everything that comes into your ear gate and your eye gate, everything that you read, everything that you hear. So when I started, really being serious about putting out content, and again, this is not the first time I put out content. In my career, I have to produce content as well. Like, I have to write proposals to go speak at national conferences. I have to write manuscripts for articles that I hope to get published. I write content for courses that I teach, because we always have to teach something new every week and sometimes multiple days of the week. So I've always been a content producer. This is just a different platform. And I use the same methods of inspiration. I try to be very careful about what I read, because my mind has been so conditioned to, hey, turn this into a lesson, that I can pretty much turn anything to into some form of lesson. But because I want to be intentional and I want to make sure I add substance, I am careful about what I read and what I watch. Now that doesn't mean I don't watch, a little ratchet here and there because I do, because there are lessons in everything, but I just make sure that it's like an 80-20 rule that you do with diet and nutrition. For some people who know about the 80-20 rule, you eat healthy 80% most of the time, and then 20%, you have a little bit here and there of some sweets or whatever you like to indulge in. And I do that with my content. So I try to make sure that everything that I read or listen to, there's some form of lesson, unless I'm on my downtime. So I don't want you to think that I'm just, always studying. I'm not. Maybe I should be, but I'm not. So there are times where I just zone out. Give me something like none is inspirational, none educational. I don't want to learn anything from this. Just let me watch it, and then subconsciously it's still back there in my head and it'll come up, but I try not to analyze everything. Now here's the next part to that, because it's not like every time I read something or write something, I make notes. That's not it. I probably could produce more if I did that. Like every time I read something, like I used to do for school, read and then go take notes and make outlines. Yeah, maybe I'll get to that, but that's not what I do for this current moment for inspiration. Here's what I do. Now, don't laugh. Um, don't think I'm putting you on, but this is the truth. I meditate and sit in quiet time. I do. I know people meditate for all different reasons, but I really do. And I just sit and I just let divine inspiration flow through me. Again, I believe in God. You can believe in your higher power. I do. I literally sit there and I become more intentional and being more in tune into divine inspiration. And I literally sit. So I have a whole morning routine that I do, a whole ritual routine that I do. And then a big chunk of that, depending on time, but I normally give myself 30 minutes, no less than 10, and I sit. Like, so this is after I do everything. This is after meditation. This is just something I do. I learned this from like listening to Earl Nightingale and Les Brown, believe it or not, where you just sit and let all the thoughts just come into your mind. And then I just write them all out. Um like a brain dump. Write it all out. Now sometimes I don't brain dump and I can just sometimes it's like maybe a few ideas so I don't have to write them out. I can actually remember them, or it's I can do like word association and remember them. I know it's weird. I'm telling you about my inspiration. This is just my process. And I just sit. So when I sit for that period of time, no interruptions, I'm just sitting in a quiet space, things just come to me. And probably something that I read weeks ago, something that I came across in a blog post or on somebody's Instagram page, could be 2 months ago, but it's like, okay, this is what I want to talk about, or this is the what I need to figure out. Help me to get the content out and how I need to produce it. I promise you, I'm not putting you on, I'm not making up. That's what I really do. Sit there, quiet time, and just let it come. I used to try to force create things, and I can still get stuff done, but it doesn't flow as easily, if I force it. I hope I'm not rambling. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that's where I find inspiration. So one more time to sum this all up, I read and watch inspirational videos, motivational videos, some of the coaching programs that I'm in. I learn things from there. And then, of course, my own life experiences. So I take in a lot of information. That's one of the 9 environments. You got to be careful what you put in, because what you put in is what's going to come out. So I'm very intentional about what I watch, hear, and all of that. And then after I do my morning routine or ritual, either I brain dump all of the information. Like I'm like, okay, divine intelligence, Holy Spirit, I want to produce this amount of content. This is what I have coming up this week. I need some ideas. What am I supposed to do? And sometimes the ideas will flow so quickly that I have to write them down. And then other times I may get 2 or 3 things they're big that I can chunk up. Break up in chunks to where I don't have to write them all down. And then I go from there. And then anytime I have a thought throughout the day, I've learned how to put things in my color note on my phone, or I'll do a voice record. I don't do a lot of voice recording, but sometimes if it's one of those moments where it's a whole bunch of information being downloaded, I do sit there and just talk in my phone. But for a lot of times I just type in my notes and then date it, and then I go back from there. So that's how I find my inspiration. My inspiration comes from my quiet time when I ask for divine intelligence to come speak to me. So yeah, I hope that doesn't sound too weird. Let me know down in the comments below where you find your inspiration. I know some people take long walks to find inspiration, and I do too. But again, I consider that quiet times. Okay, so let me back up. I also do that too. Any time where I can zone out, and I know you shouldn't say you zone out and walk, but when I don't have to be so focused, that's where I get inspiration. But majority of the time, it comes from that morning time where I literally just sit in silence. So again, let me know down below, where do you find your inspiration? I would love to hear your process and how you just create content if you are a content creator, and or if you're inspired to be a content creator. And again, content creation isn't always in the form of like YouTube or videos. For the longest time, my content creation were my courses that I was teaching for my job, articles that I had to write, conference proposals and presentations that I had to write. I didn't see that as content creation. I saw that as doing my job, but it is content creation. You know, sometimes we got to change our perspective on things. So I'm rambling. This is day 5 of Vlogmas. We have a lot more to talk about, and I hope you join me again. So thank you so much. I am Dr. V, and thank you for listening and learning with me. I will see you next time. Bye.